Welcome to U.S. Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Defense Minister accuses China fighter jets of reckless interception of military plane. FBI report shows stark increase in hate crimes and drop in violent crime. U.S. Supreme Court blocks judge's order allowing ghost gun sales. Amazing, spectacular, sensational. Spider-Man 2 on PS5 is a return to form for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. World must not fail in Iran as it did in North Korea, IA chief says. Defense Minister accuses China fighter jets of reckless interception of military plane. The Guardian. Canada's Defense Minister has accused Chinese fighter jets of conducting a dangerous and reckless interception of a Canadian military plane over international waters. The incident occurred in international waters off the coast of China, and the Chinese embassy in Ottawa has not yet responded to the accusation. This is not the first time that Chinese military aircraft have been accused of aggressive behavior towards other countries' planes. In June, Canada's military accused Chinese warplanes of harassing its patrol aircraft, and in May, the Pentagon reported an unnecessarily aggressive maneuver by a Chinese fighter jet near a U.S. military plane. FBI report shows stark increase in hate crimes and drop in violent crime. The Guardian. According to the FBI's annual crime report, the number of violent crimes in the U.S. dropped in 2022 to pre-pandemic levels. Violent crime decreased by 1.7% compared to the previous year, while murder and non-negligent manslaughter decreased by 6.1%. However, property crimes and hate crimes increased significantly. Property crimes increased by 7.3%, and hate crime incidents rose from 10,840 in 2021 to 11,634 in 2022. The data showed that 51.9% of hate crime victims were targeted because of anti-Black or African American bias. Hate crimes against LGBTQ+ individuals also increased. U.S. Supreme Court blocks judge's order allowing ghost gun sales. Reuters. The U.S. Supreme Court has granted the Biden administration's request to block the sale of ghost guns that can be easily assembled at home. The decision overturns a federal judge's order that had sided with manufacturers Blackhawk Manufacturing and Defense Distributed. The rule, issued by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, bans buy-build-shoot kits that can be assembled into a functioning firearm without a background check or the usual serial numbers required. The Supreme Court lifted a previous injunction against the rule in August and has now acted for a second time in the case. Amazing, spectacular, sensational. Spider-Man 2 on PS5 is a return to form for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. ABC. The author, who was not a fan of the 2018 prequel, has now spent over 50 hours playing Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and has had a change of heart. The game picks up after the events of the 2018 installment, with Peter Parker and Miles Morales teaming up to defend New York against threats. The author wishes more time was spent with Miles as his moments in the game are the best. The game is described as vivid, colorful, and varied, with an expanded map and updated swinging mechanics. The combat is described as varied and interesting, with the addition of new enemies and abilities. The game is highly recommended. World must not fail in Iran as it did in North Korea, IA chief says. Reuters. The head of the UN atomic watchdog, Rafael Grossi, has warned that the international community must take care to prevent the standoff with Iran over its nuclear program from becoming a failure similar to that of North Korea. Grossi urged efforts to prevent Iran, which currently has the capabilities to develop nuclear weapons, from actually doing so. He highlighted the failure to prevent North Korea from testing nuclear weapons after expelling UN inspectors as an example of what should be avoided. Interception of Canadian military plane by Chinese jets was unacceptable. Ottawa. Reuters. Canadian Defence Minister Bill Blair has condemned the interception of a Canadian military plane by Chinese fighter jets as unacceptable, dangerous and reckless. The incident, which took place over international waters off the coast of China, saw a Chinese jet come within 5 meters of a Canadian surveillance plane participating in a UN operation to enforce sanctions against North Korea. Blair stated that while the Chinese Air Force regularly interacts with planes on UN missions, this incident put the Canadian aircraft at significant risk. In legal peril at home, Trump turns to a UK court for vindication. New York Times. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit in London against British ex-spy Christopher Steele over the latter's dossier that claimed links between Trump and Russia. On the first day of a 2-day hearing, Mr. Trump's lawyer, Hugh Tomlinson, said his client would present evidence if the Justice, Karen Stein, allows the case to go to trial. However, a lawyer for Steele's firm, Orbis Business Intelligence, argued that the case should be thrown out because the statute of limitations had expired. Meanwhile, Anthony White, representing Orbis, suggested the lawsuit was a pattern of frivolous litigation against Steele. None of the allegations in the dossier have been proven, and the FBI found one key allegation to be false. Nonetheless, Mr. Trump claimed Steele still argued the dossier was accurate and had subjected him to a barrage of abuse and threats. The former U.S. president denied any involvement in cyber attacks on Steele's business or the publication of his children's addresses. Bankruptcy judge's sudden exit leaves big money cases in limbo. Bloomberg. The resignation of a top Houston bankruptcy judge following revelations about a romantic relationship with a local lawyer has cast doubt over the outcomes of several major bankruptcy cases. Judge David R. Jones, who has overseen more than 1,000 corporate insolvencies, has been accused of approving fees for his girlfriend's law firm without disclosing their relationship. His departure will delay decisions on creditor recoveries and may prompt firms to seek bankruptcy cases elsewhere, legal experts warned. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the sixth dimension, here to bring you the latest news from across the interdimensional realm. Let's dive into today's stories. First up, we have the accusation by Canada's defense minister against Chinese fighter jets for their reckless interception of a Canadian military plane. This is not an isolated incident, as Chinese military aircraft have been accused of aggressive behavior towards other countries' planes before. It's a concerning pattern that needs to be addressed to maintain international peace and security. Moving on, the FBI's annual crime report reveals a drop in violent crime in the U.S., which is undoubtedly good news. However, property crimes and hate crimes have seen a significant increase. The rise in hate crimes, particularly those targeting the Black or African American community and LGBTQ+ individuals, is deeply troubling. It's a reminder that there is still work to be done to promote inclusivity and eradicate discrimination. In a victory for gun control advocates, the U.S. Supreme Court has blocked the sale of ghost guns that can be assembled at home without a background check. This decision overturns a federal judge's order and sets an important precedent for regulating firearms. It's a step in the right direction to ensure public safety while respecting responsible gun ownership. Now, let's swing into some lighter news. The highly anticipated Spider-Man 2 game on PS5 has received rave reviews. It's described as a return to form, with improved mechanics, an expanded map, and engaging gameplay. If you're a fan of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, this game is a must-play. On a more serious note, the head of the UN atomic watchdog has warned against failing to prevent Iran's nuclear program from becoming a failure similar to North Korea. It's crucial for the international community to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons and avoid repeating past mistakes. Diplomatic efforts and strict monitoring are essential to maintain global security. In a show of solidarity, Canada's defense minister has condemned the interception of a Canadian military plane by Chinese fighter jets as unacceptable, dangerous, and reckless. This incident put the Canadian aircraft at risk and highlights the need for responsible behavior in international airspace. Shifting gears, former U.S. President Donald Trump has taken his legal battles to a UK court, filing a lawsuit against ex-spy Christopher Steele over the infamous dossier. The case is currently being heard, and it remains to be seen how it will unfold. Frivolous litigation or a genuine attempt at vindication? Only time will tell. Lastly, the sudden resignation of a top Houston bankruptcy judge due to a romantic relationship with a local lawyer has created uncertainty for several major bankruptcy cases. The judge's departure will delay decisions and may prompt firms to seek legal proceedings elsewhere. It's a reminder that integrity and transparency are crucial in the judicial system. And there you have it, folks. A snapshot of the latest news from across the dimensions. Now, I turn to you, my esteemed viewers. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any questions or insights to share? The floor is yours. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.